So very good morning all of you. Today we are going to see the literature book chapter number 4, A Triumph of Surgery, page number 47. Tricky, a small dog. A dog is here and his name is Tricky. He is pampered by his mistress. She overfeed him and he falls seriously ill. What happened to him? Does he recover? One dog is here and his name was Tricky. And Mrs. Pumphrey overfed to him. Because of that he falls ill. He recovered or not, we will see in the chapter. I was really worried about Tricky this time. The author was really worried about the Tricky. I had pulled up my car when I saw him in the street with his mistress and I was shocked at this appearance. Mr. Tricky saw the Tricky and his mistress, and her name was Mrs. Pumphrey. When the Mr. Heroid saw to the doctor, that time he was worried about the Tricky. He pulled his car when I saw on the street to whom they saw a Tricky and his mistress, and he was shocked. Why? He had become a hugely fat, like a bloated sausage. Who become a fat? Tricky. Tricky looked like a very fat, like a sausage. Who said this? Mr. Heroid, the author. With a leg at each corner, these eyes, bloodshot and rheumy, started at straight ahead and his tongue lolled from his jaw. How the Tricky was looked here? He looked like a hugely fat. It looked like a sausage, and his leg at each corner looked like a sausage, means kebab. His eyes also look like a bloodshot also, and he is looking a very fat. ऑथर है, जब उन्होंने ट्रिकी को देखा तो वो बहुत चिंतित हो गए. क्यों? क्योंकि यहाँ पे जब मिस्टर हेरोइड ने, ऑथर ने जब ट्रिकी को देखा तो वो कबाब के जैसा लग रहा था, फूला फूला मोटा मोटा. उसकी जो लेग्स थे वो पूरे कॉर्नर से सॉसेज की तरह लग रहे थे. एंड मुंह में से उसके जॉ मतलब मुंह, उसके मुंह में से हिज टंग लॉल्ड फ्रॉम हिज जॉ. Mrs. Pumphrey hasn't to explain. He was so listless. Mr. Heroid, he seemed to have no energy. I thought he must be suffering from malnutrition. So I have been giving him some little extra between meals to build him up, and some malt and cod liver oil, a bowl of horlicks at night to make him sleep. Nothing much really. Mrs. Pumphrey hasn't explained to Mr. Heroid, and he was so listless. And she explained to the doctor, what she explained? He must be suffering from the malnutrition. The Pumphrey getting attention about the Tricky. So she has been giving some extra food, extra meal to the Tricky. Then what she has given? She has given the cod liver of oil, bowl of horlicks. Why? Because he at night to make him sleep. Nothing really. And did you cut down on the sweet things as I told to you? Underline this sentence, children. This sentence Mr. Heroid said to the Mrs. Pumphrey. Oh, I did for a bit, but he seemed to be so weak. I had to relent. He does love cream cakes and chocolates, so I can't bear it to refuse him. I looked down at the little dog. That was trouble. Tricky's only fault was greed. Underline this sentence. Tricky's only fault was greed. Underline this sentence. Now we will continue the page number 48. He had been never known to refuse food. Underline this sentence, children. What kind of a tense here? Past perfect tense. He would tackle a meal at any hours. Tackle means pull. Pulley of the day or night. And I wondered about all the things Mrs. Pumphrey hadn't mentioned. Are you giving him plenty of exercise? Plenty of this is the phrase. Who said this sentence, children? To whom? Mr. Herold said to the Mrs. Pumphrey. Well, he has his little walk with me as so can see. But Hodkins, the garden has been down with the lump bags, so there has been no ring throwing lately. I tried to sound so. Now I really mean this. If you don't cut his food right down and give him more exercise, he is going to be really ill. You must harden your heart and keep him on very strict diet. The Mr. Herold given the suggestion, Mrs. Pumphrey. What he had given? You must harden to your heart and keep him very strict diet. Give the much food to the tricky. If you not cut the food right now. Mrs. Pumphrey wrung her hand. Oh, I will, Mr. Herold. I am sure you are right. Underline this sentence, children. Who said this sentence? To whom? Mrs. Pumphrey said Mr. Herold. But it is so difficult. So very difficult. What is the opposite word of difficult? Easy. She set off. Set off, this is the phrase. Make their underline. Head down along the road as is determined to put new regimes into the practice immediately. I watched their progress with growing concern. Tricky was tottering along, underline this, in his little tweed coat, dropping in his rashness. Underline this, dropping in his rashness. This is the phrase. It means bending under the weight of his body as he was led along. I thought it wouldn't be long before I heard from Mrs. Pumphrey.